Hey there, Citizen Pal here, and welcome back. Time for another Star Citizen video, and this one's going to be veering off of what a lot of my normal content has been as of late. Rather than a tour of duty, we're going to be talking about Star Citizen, what happened in 2018, was it good, was it bad, at least my opinions on Star Citizen from 2018, but more importantly, 2019. What do I expect going into 2019? How do I think the game's going to come along? What do I think we're going to see? And so on. These are just my opinions, so keep that in mind. Before we do that, though, a little bit of housekeeping. The Tour of Duty series is going to continue on. I am starting to run a little low on the amount of ships I have to show that I have easy access to. That's what I'm trying to say. Easy access to. If you didn't notice, a lot of those videos were pumped out very quickly. Basically, they were being recorded during CitizenCon. So that day would roll around and all those ships would become available for rent. I'd run down there. I'd fight with the server until I finally got onto a server where I could actually get into the hall and the ships were there. I'd run all the ships up, and then over the course of like 4 hours, I would try to record all those videos. So yeah, they were a lot more rushed. We're now getting down to the ships that I own. So I have access to. I have a lot more in-depth opinions on them, but I also don't need to rush them. So they're probably going to be a little bit better quality. That said, they're not going to be 100% accurate. That's just not really my thing. I'm not trying to put out false information. Let me be very clear about that. I'm not trying to just put out the wrong info, but I'm not going to read the Wikipedia page to you with footage. If you want that, you can go read the Wikipedia page. There's a lot of other people out there that are going to go really fine knit on those details. That's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to give you raw impressions of it, of just some random guy that's really into Star Citizen. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, I know a lot of the comments are, hey, you screwed this little thing up and that little thing up or whatever. It's going to happen, and that's going to continue, though the next few should get better as we go along. However, I am running out of ships a little bit that I have easy access to. So one of the things I will put out, if you do have a favorite ship that you own or whatever, and it's not been covered yet and doesn't get covered in the next few weeks, if you're interested, reach out. I will take messages over YouTube or whatever. Maybe we can meet up and I can borrow the ship from you for an hour or so, collect the footage, and then put it up that way. I'm definitely interested in the Hawk. That is one I'm really trying to get my hands on, as I'm sure quite a few people are interested in it for that. But yeah, that is going to continue on. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Those are going to continue to come roughly every other day until I run out of ships to cover, as long as everything job provides. We'll go from there. Okay, so looking back, 2018, what do I think? Well, I think 2018 overall was a great year for Star Citizen, with a big caveat that it felt like it should have happened 2 to 3 years ago. Star Citizen in 2018 really felt like a game that started to come together. The problem was it's been 5 years in the progress to get to that point. And it's not necessarily a problem, but it definitely does cut back on the, wow, it's really great, 2018 was amazing. Well, yeah, 2018 was pretty damn good, but we've been waiting on this since 2012. So I temper my expectations a little bit. One of the things that really stood out to me going into the holidays, if you watch the holiday special video or whatever it was called they put out, where like they showed all the different studios and then they interviewed people of what their favorite thing was. I'm pretty sure it was the, what's the guy's name? I forget his name. The guy that does the Bug Mashers, or did the Bug Mashers videos. He said something to the effect that like 2017, we had to basically rebuild the game, or 2018 we had to rebuild the game, and it got me really thinking. Perhaps there was a lot more involved switching over from, there was two things that changed in, I think it was 2017. It might have been 2016, 2017. Two things changed. They went from CryEngine to Lumberyard. And let's be very fair, Lumberyard is an extension of CryEngine. Lumberyard is built on the core of CryEngine. But they did switch from one to the other. They also moved from DirectX, or they are moving from DirectX over to Vulkan. And I'm not sure if maybe there was a lot more involved with that than we initially thought on the surface, or at least I initially thought on the surface. And that you can kind of tell as, you know, initially the modules, 2012, 13, into 14, the modules were coming out relatively quickly. We went boom, hangars, and then onto the gravity fields where you're inside your ship and you're not falling out, and then the Arena Commander and Star Marine. They came really quick, and then when we got close to 3.0, everything just kind of stopped. And 3.0 took a very long time. That was, what, 10 months delayed? We were supposed to get it early 2017, and we got it like November 2017. That really hurt. But I'm wondering if a lot more of that had to do with a lot of the old code got scrapped and got rebuilt in the new Lumberyard engine to continue on. And we've also seen more hints of that. If you think about it, they went from items to item 1.0 to item 2.0. We're now getting a new flight system. They're doing a lot of these 2.0 acronyms for this stuff. And I think at least I on the surface just thought it was them more streamlining things and really fine tuning it. But maybe it was, yeah, okay, we have this set of data and it just doesn't work with the current engine. So we're going to move it over, but while we move it over, we're also going to streamline it. It was maybe multifaceted. So yeah, well, I think 2018, getting the 3.3 was awesome. The game is more playable now than it's ever been. So getting the object container streaming in and bind culling, those things were such a huge step forward. Even though their patches were a little rough, it just made the game so much more playable, and I'm very happy with where the game is right now. I do have to, again, caveat it and be like, 6 years in, but it's still a very fun and enjoyable game. The footage you're watching in the background here is just me. I had to go out and capture footage for this. I've tried before where I won't do Star Citizen footage in the background. I do whatever current game I'm playing and I talk over it, and people complain about it, and that's understandable. So I just was out playing this, and running around doing this mission was really enjoyable. It's kind of slow. It's just a random retrieval mission that I did for the cache or whatever as I was going, and then I was planning on talking over it, but it was a very immersive, great mission. I wouldn't play it like this normally. If I was just playing the video game, I would have had another video running or something. I would have had HBO running in the background or something and been listening to that, because there was a lot of downtime. But the immersion of Star Citizen has become really good in late 2018. And with 3.4 at the end of the year, while there's definitely a number of bugs there's more content. 3.4 was probably the most deep gameplay content patch we've ever had in the entire game. It feels like it's more than doubled the amount of things there are to do in terms of missions and little odds and ends to run around for. That might not be entirely accurate, but it definitely added close to 50% more, especially once you start doing some of the missions out in the Hurston area. So there's a lot of things to do in there. Are they amazingly deep? No. Are they spectacular? No. There's some cool moments to be had. There's a lot of downtime too, but that's going to come with the nature of Star Citizen. There's going to be a lot of downtime in Star Citizen. I've used this this analogy before. Star Citizen's going to have a fair bit of Euro Truck Simulator in it, or whatever you want to, one of those long grindy game type things, where there's going to be a lot of just kind of repetitive, not necessarily boring, but mindless stuff. But that's going to be important, because if it doesn't take me 15 minutes to get out to Hurston or whatever, that firefight that I accidentally got into with another player or whatever wouldn't be nearly as dangerous if I knew, well, when I die, I'm just going to be boom, right here anyway. That travel time adds a significant amount to it. It's a little complicated right now because you're more likely to be respawning back at Port Olisar because the server crashed or you got disconnected or some weird glitch than anything else. But over time, as those things get ironed out, that travel time, that downtime, that slow period is going to be important, I think, for when the other stuff kicks off. Because if it was nonstop action like Call of Duty, that wouldn't really fit either. So that's not really a complaint. I'm just babbling on here now as we go. So yeah, I think overall 2018 was really good, and it has me super looking forward to 2019. If they can keep this relative pace up and start really fleshing things out, I think 2019 has a chance to really shape up to be something good. But I have one big concern, and this is going to lead into a topic that I've wanted to cover, but I've been hesitant to cover. It goes back to what the channel was 2 years ago, where basically every time there was a little controversy about Star Citizen, I'd kind of pluck at it and be like, here's my opinion on it. And then I'd get bombed because I'm a very middle-of-the-road type person. So I'd get nailed from the Star Citizen major fans, be like, why are you not more positive on this? You're overlooking this. No, you're wrong here. But I'd also get nailed by the haters who are like, dude, you're delusional. The game's a total bomb, and you're never going to get your money back, and you're just what's the syndrome where the kidnapped person syndrome, whatever. You get the idea. And I would get nailed on that. So I've been hesitant to do this, but we kind of got to talk about the financial numbers that came out because it leads very much into what I expect in 2019. And that is a heavier push in monetization. If you look at the numbers very briefly, basically the way they're operating is it's not how at least I assumed it was, and I think many people assumed it was. It's not like, okay, we've brought in $212 million. We have that in a big bank account here. And out of that, we've spent 140. And so we still have 82 or whatever million to go. I forget how they're at 210. And you get the idea. They don't have like this bank of 80. No, what they're actually doing is the annual amount that they bring in is roughly their operating cost. So going into 2019, they probably have somewhere around $10-ish million set aside that they can continue to operate on. This does not include the loan that just came in from the third-party company for the 10% of the share. This doesn't include that number. Ignore that number. This is just the crowdfunding money. They probably have somewhere around $10 million, like 8 to 12, 8 to 15, somewhere in there, left over from what's been brought in. But what they're going to have to do is they're going to look at 2019 and they're going to say, okay, we need 40, 42, $45 million to keep running at our current load with our current number of employees, our current offices and stuff. We need that amount of money. So they're going to try and monetize the game in its current state to make roughly $40 million. I don't know if that's entirely a bad thing, but it is something we need to prepare for, I think. And there have been little hints at this. When they talked about the 300i rework, there was one of the videos, and I don't remember which one, it's out there somewhere, it was reverse the verse, around the verse, one of those, where they basically said, so coming out with the 300 rework series, which is going to be 3.5, I believe, they're also overhauling the storefront. And as they overhaul the storefront, what they're going to do is you're going to be able to, not only are you going to say, okay, I want the 315, but you can say, I want the 315 with this livery skin. Rather than the default weapons on it, also, I want to take those weapons off, I want to put these weapons on. So my purchase, what's in my quote-unquote your hanger on the website, is not going to just be the 315. It's going to be the 315 plus some modifiers that you apply on it. And I think all of that stuff's going to be monetized. So if you want this special skin, that's an extra $6 on top of it. These weapons here, they're a bit better than the default weapons. So there's another $13, or $13 might be a bit much, $3 on top of it. But where the ship might by default be 115 US dollars, after you've modified it out and customized it and given it some of the things that you like, it might be $145. And I think we're going to see a push with that. And I think all the new concepts are going to come with that also. So there's going to be, my guess, minimum of 4 new concepts. I think actually probably closer to 8 or 9 concepts. I think we'll see roughly 1 new concept every 6 to 10 weeks. And then we're also going to see like 2 new concepts that appear around CitizenCon. So when you put that all together, somewhere between around like 8 new concept ships that are going to come out in 2019 is my guess. And so those are going to be monetized that way too. The ship will have its base cost, and then there's also going to be, well, do you want this weapon maybe instead? Do you want to swap this out? Do you want to have that? And there's going to be that. There could be a lot more variants too. We could have another thing like the 300 series. As we've seen, there's 4 variants for the 300. There's the interdiction, there's the exploration, there's obviously the base, and then the race. There might be another one I'm forgetting. So I think they're going to have highly variant-based ships coming out compared to like the Arrow, where there's just the Arrow, and so on. And again, I don't know if that's a bad thing. Like for me personally, if the game progresses as much as it did in 2018, if it progresses that much in 2019 as much as it did in 2018, I can easily see myself spending another $300 to $500 in Star Citizen, and I won't feel guilty about that at all. This is my passion, and spending $500 on something that is your passion over the course of a year, that's not bad for me. Your financials may vary, but that's well within reason. I probably spend more than that every year just tinkering around with my computer, like, oh, let's get this new monitor, get this, mess with that. And that's not a problem. Like, that's cheaper than a cold air intake and an exhaust for my car. It's not that much. Now, I'm not sure why I'm trying to justify that price here, but you get the idea. Like, if 3.5 comes out and I really like the flight system, I could see myself going, you know, man, this flight system's awesome. It would really be good if I had a Gladius, because the Gladius flies phenomenally. Well, now I own a Gladius. There's $100. 3.6 rolls out. Ooh, new concept ship. What's this one? Ooh, I don't have that. I like that. Well, what's that going to cost me? All right, well, I'm going to trade that Gladius in because I've done the flying thing. We'll do another $80 on top of it, $180. Now I got that new concept ship. And over the course of that year, yeah, I could see myself putting in $300 to $500. And I imagine there's a fair number of other backers that would do the exact same thing. So the idea that they're going to continue to monetize the game and try to get 40 to $45 million out of the community through 2019, while on paper it might sound a little shocking, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility as long as the quality of the product that they're putting out continues to improve and the gameplay continues to progress like it did in 2018. And it does seem to be. I also think there's going to be, like, if I had this is my big guess of what's going to be the big thing of 2019. I think there's going to be a reveal of player-owned structures space stations. We already know that we're going to be able to get player-owned structures on planets. We've what is it? Not the Pioneer. Is it the Pioneer? What's the ship that can build on the ground? I forget what it's called. We've already seen that concept. They've shown it. It's going to be kind of modular. You're going to go down and set down this habitat and then attach the other habitats on top of it. And they've already sold the land plots. All of that's great. Well, I think if you look at a lot of the tech they've been putting together, it clearly points to some point in the future we'll be able to do player-owned structures, but space stations. They're putting together the modules for, we already have the truck stops and everything that pop out. They take these hallways and they mix and match them together with these storefronts, and they put them together in a slightly random order, and ta-da, there's a truck stop. Well, I don't think there would be too much to prevent them from doing that same thing, but remove the randomness out of it and give the players the control, so they could go in and be like, okay, here's 10 different landing dock zones. Well, we want to build like 2 of these, 1 of those, and we're going to connect it to this habitation unit, and it'll have like a snap together position thing, almost similar to the X4 game I was playing recently, where like there's just a bunch of different modules and they snap together and you rotate them or whatever, and then you build them up that way. So I think that is going to be something announced. Now, I don't think that's coming in 2019 at all. I don't even know if that would be something in 2020 because there's a lot of hurdles they need to overcome. Number one, they need to get persistence working. This is something they did talk about recently, and they think they're going to be able to get that in late 2019. Chris Roberts said in the recent... No, did he say that? Yes, Chris Roberts said it wasn't the reverse the verse or around the verse. It was that little holiday one where his kids took over at the end of it. He was saying late 2019, and this is what we're just talking about, where you park your spaceship somewhere, even if it's just planet side, you leave, or moon side, you log out. When you log back in, it's there. You drop a box somewhere, you leave, you come back, and the box is sitting there. You're going to need that for the space stations to work. You're going to need that for the planet stuff to work also. Beyond that, though, they also got to get the network, the server shards talking, the instancing of the server, so it's one large server rather than a bunch of 50-player servers, because it doesn't make sense if you build a space station on server 18, but then next time you log back in, you're on server 32, that's not going to work. So those 2 big technologies need to come together first before they can go ahead and really implement this. But I do think that is going to be something announced. And I also think that's going to be tied into one of the big concept, if not the big concept ship that will be announced this year, is going to be a space construction ship or whatever. I think that's going to be the big one we see. I also think there's going to be a big push on Squadron 42, which I don't know if I'm excited for or not. I definitely plan on playing the hell out of it. It's just at this point, after this many years, it's hard to have excitement about it. We'll see once it actually, starts rolling into beta or whatever. I'm sure we'll see some more cross sections of it. Maybe there'll be some enthusiasm. I definitely am interested in it and want to see what it is they have to offer. Beyond that, my expectations. I think the new flight system is hopefully going to be great. I have really looking forward to that. I think the last bit that I really hope they do is I hope they take the time coming up sometime in the next 6 months, rather than every patch kind of resetting the economy, resetting your progress. I hope they can finally do some way where it carries over. Not necessarily forever. I mean, obviously this is alpha and they'll have to reset it for beta, but give me 6 months, right? So let 3.5 roll into 3.6. Have both of them do something where you can transfer the tables or whatever the data is that talks about what ships you own and what you've bought in game, how much money you've made, and move that over. That way we can kind of do both, continue on playing. And then, after the 6-month mark, go ahead and reset it for 3.7 and let 3.7 and 3.8 work together for 6 months, and then reset it from there. That would be something that's really nice, as there's some expensive ships already in game. I'd like to work towards them, but I don't want to play this game all day, every day in order to get that amount of money. So that would be something I'd really like to see. And, just continue on as they're doing. If they can get ArcCorp working well, it'll be interesting once they start bringing multiple little solar systems online that we can start jumping across. The wormhole mechanic is going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to the Carrack. The Carrack, I think, is going to be a pretty awesome ship. I know there's some really mixed feelings on that thing right now because they shrunk it back down towards its original concept size rather than the bloated one that it had become. I don't really care. I'll see the ship. I own the ship, right? When it comes out, if I don't like it, I'll recycle it into something I do like. So I like the concept of it. I love the visuals of it and everything. I like the idea of a ship that is really all-purpose like that can be used as basically command and control ship. So I'm really interested to see the Carrack. Hopefully late 2019, I think we'll see that. Maybe like 3.7, right? 3.7. We'll see the Carrack. If it turns out to be too small or whatever, yeah, I'll get rid of it. That's fine. I think that about does it. I've rambled on now for almost 21 and a half minutes. So, yeah, that's what I think. I as you can tell, I'm still middle of the road, but things are looking up in my opinion. I'm a little concerned about the finances and how much they might nickel and dime us. Chris Roberts, they're definitely pushing it a little bit, but I'm still on board. I'm still enjoying what I played. I don't regret any of the money I've spent so far, and I've spent a fair bit at this point. But, yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm sure it's going to be all over the place. Try and keep it civil. Obviously there's going to be some people that spending the amount of money some of us have spent on one game is out of their mind, but that's, it's not for everyone. We'll be getting back to it, regular scheduled coverage in 2 days' time. Until then, though, this has been Powler. Thanks for watching.